Welcome to the Garage, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Thank you for joining us in the Court of Public Opinion. This is our sort of new look Facebook posting. 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning it's posted, and this one Thursday morning at 9 o'clock. And of course tomorrow, Friday, live streaming from the dining room table. We're empire building here, ladies and gentlemen. Quite clearly this is growing. Well, with your help it will grow. And I'd like to thank those people who had, not only Peter Clayton, because there were people who had posted very helpful comments about how to increase the audience and the reach of the program by going on YouTube. And I love YouTube. I think it's the most interesting, the best television channel that you could imagine. So much stuff there, can't imagine. But I just worry a little bit that you're not going to be able to find this. But you just go to Jeremy Cordeaux on YouTube and it'll pop up. Credit card surcharge to be dropped. You heard about this, I'm sure. This is on the recommendation of the Reserve Bank of Australia, the RBA. Now, this is the price that we've been told we pay for the convenience of using a card rather than cash. And that's been in place for a long time. Can't remember its actual beginnings, but anyway, they must think that we're fairly naive. The surcharge will go and will turn up as an additional cost somewhere else. Believe me, trust me. I know, it's like three thimbles and a pea. But anyway, the tap and go was convenient for everybody. If you're going to have a surcharge, it probably should be on cash. Handling cash is labour intensive. Then you've got to, if you're dealing with cash, you've got to train staff to know how, well, to give change. Believe me, that's not easy. There's a whole generation of people who would not know how to handle a cash register and give people change. It's true. 110 taxes in Australia. 110 taxes, if ever you wondered. There are only 10 of these that really rake in the money for the government. What should come out of the taxation round table? Hopefully something that will benefit us. 0491 65 68 60. Friday morning, 9 o'clock. Do join us. Jeremy Cordeaux live streaming. Tell us what you want. What's on your wish list? I mean, I've got a few things. Believe me, I've got a few things. I'm so tired of these constant electricity green energy companies bombarding us with wonderful offers for cheap power. Are they totally mad? Renewables have driven up the cost of electricity by at least 30%. What planet are they on? Lies, 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 lies. You can't advertise lies and somehow make your crap true. Doesn't work like that. Oh, the government might tell you that's how they do it, so maybe you can. Can I get any of these idiots on my Friday show? No, not one. Not one will be questioned. Not one. So what is the problem? Well, the problem is it's not a straight out 30-second spruik. For the company, you may ask some inconvenient questions. We will have to explain ourselves. We don't want to do that. We'll tough it out. Gee. Anyway, I'll persevere. I'll keep going. Dear Connie Francis, 87. 87. Connie Francis. So much a part of the youth of people of my age, anyway. 1957, her dad, who believed in her so much, took her around from one record company to another. And I think he had one more song, one more shot in the chamber, and it was a song called Who's Sorry Now? And the guy at the record company liked it. It was the kickoff, it was the beginning. Then 1960, there was Lipstick on Your Collar. 1960, followed by Everybody's Somebody's Fool. Isn't that the truth? Everybody's somebody's fool, and there are no exceptions to the rule. Everybody's somebody's fool. She was the first female singer in history to get the #1 song on Billboard. A string of wonderful songs, Vacation, V-A-C-A-T-I, all of that. Anyway, it's just wonderful that she was 87, but still singing, you know. She was in reasonably good health. Is Channel 9 about to be sold? Well, we believe so. Bought by, well, venture capitalists, I suppose you'd call them, along with large radio holdings as well. This, if it is a sale, will put a slew of top-rating talk radio stations in play as well. Bruce Gordon, already a major shareholder, is rumoured to be planning a takeover. And Bruce Gordon is a television and radio broadcasting man to his boot heels. That empire, radio and television, I don't know that he'd be interested in the newspapers, but then again he might be, but it would be in good hands if it all was in his hands, I think. I really believe that. But it's a funny business, the radio and television industry. There are things that come and things that go, and you just have to watch. It's almost a spectator sport. At the top end, up there, they are complaining that they don't have the people or the equipment to protect our coast or our very valuable fishing industry. Hundreds, if not thousands, of small Indonesian fishing boats are up there even as I speak to you today. There are many Aboriginals who are trying to guard our north. Paid to, yes. They need many more people and a lot more resources. Let's mobilise our native communities, they're up there, and anyone who needs work to do this vital job. It really is terribly important, because not only are they coming to steal, well, harvest, take our resources, God knows what they will bring with them. There is no other work up there, and there is nothing more important, vital, than this job of protecting our fishing industry and our northern shores. Think about it. And speaking about up there, the Torres Strait Island climate change case has been heard in the federal court. Their decision, federal court, was handed down last week. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 2 Torres Strait Islanders are suing us. Well, more correctly, the Australian government. Why? How? They claim that we are responsible for the climate change that is causing the sea levels to rise. What or who is responsible for these people? Are they being manipulated or at least influenced, used, certainly financed? The case argues that climate change is the cause of rising sea levels and we're responsible. That this ever got to federal court, and at what cost, is amazing. Even if you believe in this climate nonsense, Australia is responsible for 1.3% of global emissions. There is absolutely nothing that we can do, but then again, it's not about doing something, it's about money, compensation. That's what they're suing us for. If you were really looking to the court for a remedy for your imagined or contrived problem, you'd be suing China or India or both, who between them are responsible for most of the global emissions. Now, I don't even believe you can establish a link between emissions and your problem, rising sea levels. You haven't made the case. At best, it's a theory. Why this wasn't thrown out of court, how it got to court in the first place, is incredible. It is very expensive to go to court with something like this. these simple people wouldn't have had the knowledge or the money, so who's behind it? But the court has decided. This is the kicker. The court has decided that Australia has no duty of care over the tide or the climate or anything that may come up as a result of either. Damn right. But what did this nonsense cost? This is why these poor people are where they are and the lawyers are where they are. The Aboriginal legal industry at work, and God knows what percentage of the $50 billion that we give to Aboriginal causes is soaked up by these legal and land right cases and all the rest of that stuff, while the Aboriginals suffer in poverty. It's unbelievable that it's allowed to go on. A new drug, an injection taken twice a year, can halt HIV. Now, at the moment, it costs $26,000 per needle. $26,000 per needle. Now, this is a disease of choice. And today we have 1.6 million new cases a year. And like monkeypox or mpox or whatever they want to call it, it is mostly a problem of sub-Saharan Africa and a sexually transmitted disease which is a lifestyle choice, totally preventable. Don't do it. A disease of choice. Oh, I'll get into trouble for saying that probably. Yet government will be lobbied to pay taxpayers' money to subsidise this new revolutionary treatment. I say no. It's about behaviour modification. Don't do it and you won't die. Or risk your life, at least. It's that simple. Talk to me on Friday if you disagree with that. Cuba, which is one of the last remaining communist countries in the world, along with North Korea, a bit of rather capitalistic Vietnam. Anyway, Cuba is facing a rebellion. They used to say in Cuba, no one will get rich, but everyone will be well off. Now, gee, if you could write that stuff, they'd love that in Canberra. You know, they'd think you're fantastic. What a great line. No one will be rich, but everyone will be well off. Anyway, well, the left, you must understand, is very good at lying. Not only have people been left behind, thousands of people are on the streets of Havana as we talk today, going through garbage cans, struggling to find enough food to live. They have no medicine. They have no support from their communist, socialist leaders. So there may well be another revolution in Cuba. Cuba today, a far cry from the 50s when it was a kind of... I don't want to look back with the rose-coloured glasses, but it was a kind of paradise, perhaps a decadent paradise. But the people were well off compared to where they are today, for God's sake. Watching Sarah Ferguson on 7:30 talking to Angus Taylor from the Liberal Party, trying to manoeuvre him into some sort of contentious statement that Australia would follow the United States into war somewhere, meaning, of course, Taiwan, simply because we were obliged to. Now, I respect Angus Taylor. He's an Oxford graduate, smart guy, I guess. But listen, all he has to say to this woman is something like, I'm sorry, Australia is not going to war, we're going to peace. What we are doing is to establish a strong presence in this part of the world with our allies, the United States, which will ensure our security. It has nothing to do with compromising our sovereignty. Our alliance with the United States assures mutual strength. We are not compromised. We believe in strength and freedom through mutual respect. Now, I don't know why such a simple statement is so hard for somebody who has an Oxford degree behind him, but he danced around the questions as if he was trying to avoid the questions. We are allies of the United States of America. If we are attacked, they'll come to our aid. If they are attacked, we will come to their aid. It's very simple. What are these people trying to prove? Semantics, word games, bloody ABC. But the Liberals have to have people who are good on their feet. Angus needs some coaching. Angus is fine. But you have to be able to handle the likes of Sarah Ferguson, for God's sake. Now, I know we're going to run out of time, so just let me remind you that our sponsors, our wonderful sponsors, are the Rising Sun, often chosen as the best inn or pub in South Australia, with a history that goes back to 1845. Lots of atmosphere, wonderful bar, great hospitality, fantastic food, and a huge range of the most delicious wines that you will ever taste. The Rising Sun at Kensington, Bridge Street, Kensington. You'll love it. And as I say, tomorrow I will have Jim Elder on the show talking about his upcoming auction. He's out there looking for paintings of distinction or interesting paintings, worthwhile paintings. You may have one hanging on the wall or stuck in the attic. Tune in tomorrow and Jim will tell you all about it. It could be worth thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It really is that simple. Chris Bowen. I've got to talk to you about Chris Bowen for a second, if I have a second, because these are our new shorter postings on Facebook, which you can also see on YouTube. Chris Bowen and his assistant minister for climate change. Yes, there is an assistant minister. What the hell do they do? Assistant minister for climate change, along with a team of 75 people. 75 headed off to Azerbaijan for a climate change conference. Thousands and thousands of these clowns flying in from all over the world, first class, I'll guarantee it, to gasbag over climate. Now, how does that cool the planet? And why do we want to? The planet is fine, apart from some of the idiots on it. And what does this cost? Oh, let me tell you. It has cost us, this junket, it has cost the taxpayer $1.5 million for nothing to achieve nothing. And we don't have a single journalist who will question Chris Bowen on the cost benefit of that trip. Come on, Minister, what did you achieve? And I was most amused to hear him, Chris Bowen, come up with this one. The reason I'm against the Liberals' idea of modular nuclear reactors is that there is no one in the world using this system. Well, Chris, there is no other country in the world with an NDIS. But that didn't bother you. I know why, of course. Nuclear power will keep us off welfare. The other, the NDIS, will get us onto welfare. You can't have too many people on welfare, can you? The good old socialist dream. I know. Happy birthday if you're having a birthday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy wedding anniversary. Let me wish you a happy day. July 24 it is today. At 21:51, 1969 was the year. Apollo 11 returns to Earth after taking the first astronauts to the moon and returning them safely, which was the promise that John Kennedy made in that decade, back in 63. Amelia Earhart, a little closer to ground than the Apollo 11 astronauts. Amelia Earhart, aviator, first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, was born in Atchison, Kansas. She died in 1939, we assume, but she was born this day in 1897. The Atchison, Topeka and the Santa Fe. That was a wonderful old railroad. as I remember, the Atchison, Topeka and the Santa Fe. Alexandre Dumas, French author, The Three Musketeers, the Count of Monte Cristo, born in France, died 1870, born 1802. The 10 millionth minicar, produced during its 60th anniversary year, Oxford, England, 2019. Of course, that's the Mini Cooper and the Mini 850, the Mini Minor. Saving Private Ryan, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Tom Hanks, Edward Burns. I wonder if that Edward Burns is Ed Burns, you know, from 77 Sunset Strip. Cookie from 70. Maybe. Matt Dillon was in it as well. It's released Academy Award Best Director 1999, Saving Private Ryan, released on this day, 1998. Linda Carter, American actress, Wonder Woman, Sky High, Miss USA 1973, born in Phoenix, Arizona, 1951. What a woman. And Peter Sellers, I'll leave you with this. Peter Sellers, English actor and comedian, The Goon Show, The Pink Panther, Being There. He dies at 54. Truly one of the great eccentrics of the world. I remember I talked to him once. We sweated blood to get him on the show at the old 5DN. And he agreed to do it as long as he could do the whole show in German. The whole interview had to be done in German. But he did have a wonderful German and a wonderful Indian accent as well. Anyway, that was 1980. He dies at the age of 54. Far too young, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being with us. I look forward to your company tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Live streaming around the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com. Just tune in. And this show that you've just seen will be up on, it's on Facebook Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, but it'll be up on YouTube. Quick Smart. Look after yourself. Talk to you tomorrow, maybe, I hope. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Believe in yourself, and thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion.